Hello and welcome back to the Fixing Football podcast. We have a full house and can't bother introducing everyone. You just know their voices and you're probably better off not knowing their faces. So Liam, I'm going to start with you. We've got a quick roundup of the week's actions. Arsenal weren't playing and that is fine by me, so we'll go straight to Bolton because we've not had a Bolton update for a minute. And right, I'm going to start off with just a simple question and then you can elaborate, but is Ian Evatt and Bolton throwing away this league, this promotion charge?
No, they're not throwing it away. They've hit a stumbling block and they've got 4 wins out of the last 12, which isn't good enough. I was concerned that our games in hand were against teams that we would struggle against. It's played out a little bit like that. We've had a couple of results that have really hurt us. So the Exeter draw away really hurt us. Probably the Wigan game away really hurt us. Our season was never going to be defined by Derby away, but the problem is because we'd left ourselves such a small margin for error, it's damaged us. It's not over yet, but it's not looking great now, to be honest.
Obviously, it's probably still take the playoffs at this point, but is that not going to be... I'm always wary about a team who are on a sort of downward trajectory in terms of form going into the playoffs rather than teams who are making a late push. Is that what you... Obviously, you want to avoid that, but I don't know. Just what are your thoughts on that?
I would be confident going into the playoffs in the sense that the players that we have missing will be back. A big miss for us was Nathan Baxter in goal. I think I said that when that happened, that was probably the one place we really couldn't afford an injury. And then our 2 first-choice strikers have been injured as well, Dion Charles and Victor Abiejo, so they should be back.
When's Charles back?
Depends who you ask. Depends who you ask. He has gone...
Called... Yeah, I was going to say he's been called up, hasn't he?
Yeah, and he's going to be assessed by Northern Irish doctors ahead of potentially playing. It depends who you ask. There's not as much news around injuries in the lower leagues as there is in the Premier League. So, I've heard rumours that he's out for the season. I don't necessarily believe that, but we need him, and we need him ASAP because, yes, of course, we want to try and make sure it's not over for second, but we want to make sure we give ourselves the best possible chance in the playoffs, and finishing third does that.
And lastly, I don't know if anyone else has a question, but how do you think Ian Evatt's handling it? Because in interviews that I've seen, I think he seems a bit rattled to me. I know you're not going to be chirpy when you're on a bit of a shit run, but I don't know. He just looks a bit rattled at the moment.
I think he's felt the pressure, particularly around the big games. So particularly around your Blackpools, your Wigans, and this Derby game. I think he's really felt the pressure. He's probably not had to deal with that before, really, where, there was a genuine expectation this year that we'll be there and thereabouts, and we are. It's not been a bad season. We're better than we were last season. Yes, I said at the start that we should be looking at top 2. We're 4 points off that with 7 games to go. We're not in a bad position, right? It's still all to play for. But yeah, I think he is feeling the pressure of it a little bit. But he should do. He's Bolton Wanderers manager in League One. We should be trying to get promoted.
Okay, Liam. So, would you say you've got 2 big games left in the season with Peterborough and Portsmouth? I think Peterborough's away and Portsmouth's at home. Is that the last 2 big games to kind of stamp your claim on this promotion charge?
Well, they're the last 2 games of the season, then. So, Portsmouth at home, then Peterborough away.
Yeah, you're hoping it's done by then.
Well, I think honestly, we've got 7 big games now. They're all massive, and they'll keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So,
do you know? Put you on the spot. Do you know Derby's run? Have they got any of them to play?
Yes, there's a game between Portsmouth and Derby to come at Portsmouth. So, yeah, that's kind of. I think if you'd have asked any Bolton fans before the game, myself included, I'd have snapped your hand off for a point on the weekend, knowing that game is there for Derby. They've got to go away to Portsmouth on a Monday night. So that's a challenging game for them. Yeah, the run-ins are very similar. We've probably got the easier of the run-ins, but there's pressure around these games. So who knows really what's going to happen.
So I just checked then, cash outs, £115.
I'm still saying let it ride. Well, you've got to let it ride now.
Is that for £100? Yeah, £100 bet,
Yeah.
200.
250.
I'd be tempted to just to cut your losses, to be honest with you, Luke. But I said when they got the injury, the keeper injury, that I asked you what your cash it was at that point. I think it was about 140.
Yeah.
And I said you should be looking at that because that we did not need that keeper injury. No, it is what it is. I will admit, like on Saturday afternoon, evening, and Sunday, I was pretty gutted with the result. Like it stung a little bit because again we played well, which is I know, sort of it doesn't matter, and football's all about results, but like we went there and we gave a really good account of ourselves. We played our football, and then fucking set piece does us. So it is what it is. You know, we've got to keep going.
Well, that leads me on nicely. Speaking of set pieces, Scott, we can touch on Chelsea. We had a nice discussion off air, but I think Chelsea did the best to try and fuck it up in the FA Cup, but you made it through to the semi-final, another semi-final for Poch.
We did indeed, and it was a good result. Yeah, as you alluded to, we made hard work of it, probably harder than it had to be. But I'm actually going to give some credit where it's due, and I think Pochettino can take a bit of credit for the way that game turned out in the end. I think that we were quite dominant over the first half, as we were expected to be. A bit of a freak own goal, wonderful finish by Disasi, by the way, for the own goal. Beautiful strike.
Take that any day.
Oh, it's
in terms of own goals, you might as well give it one of them.
It's up there, yeah. That's up there. It's no. What was the one for Palace with the back heel over his own keeper? I can never remember the name.
I think it's Popovic, but I might just be a convoluted.
That might have been the keeper. I think that might have been the keeper in net at the time. But yeah, anyway, that was the goal. But and then a decent goal from Leicester to get back in. But I think the changes that Poch made to both the lineup and to the system seemed to pay dividends. And nice to see Carney Chukwuemeka get on the score sheet after he was really starting to hit some stride, and then he suffered an injury against West Ham, which there was a lot of fans trying to say, oh, that's one of the bigger injuries of the season. That's a big hit to our squad. I wasn't really convinced, but he's looked bright anytime he's put the shirt on. So I've been quite impressed with him. And then Noni Madueke, mine and Liam's favourite player, stepped up and got the winner right near the end. So I say the winner, the goal to seal it. So yeah, job done. We got to the semi-final. Even if by some Christmas miracle we get by City, we're going to lose to United in the final anyway, because we don't beat United nowadays. We used to we had a good run for a while, but we just
that's
don't
the
do
spirit,
that
Scott. Keep the faith. That's the spirit, lad.
He finally tunes back in to watch football, and he's just
find me the last. I can't remember the last time we beat Man United. We must have been going back 4 or 5 years now. We just don't do it anymore. So yeah,
a shame because they're really beatable. Yeah. Well, Luke, that takes us nicely on to United. Biggest game of the round. Hold on, before we talk about United, Liam, is the FA Cup back? Do you think? Do you think it's found its magic again? Because I feel like the cup competitions have been a little bit dead, but I feel like this round and this draw, like the ties in particular after the draw, they've just sort of brought something back this weekend.
Yeah, a bit. I think we said it, didn't we? I think we said it on the podcast that it was a good draw. Like every game had its own little unique thing about it. I think the only one thing was the normal City Bowfest whenever. Yeah. So I'm not really. Aside from that, yeah, it's good round. Quarterfinals can be like that. There's a lot of stake. Get place at Wembley, and depending on how things drop, you can find yourself a very easy route to the final where you shouldn't. You've got a team in front of you that, championship level team in front of you between you and a place in an FA Cup final. And that's what the quarters can do if you get through those rounds. So a lot of stake.
Well, Luke, do you want to give us your thoughts on the United-Liverpool game? First of all, it's one of the best games I've seen from United for a long time. Don't know if you agree. But it was a great finish. Great finish to the match from the neutral point of view.
I'm going to give some unlikely praise to someone, because he said a very interesting comment, which is, I think, rings true. And it's Liam, what he said last week in regards to...
Jesus, everyone. Hold on. Turn your volume up. Just stop your car if you're listening on your drive. This is happening.
I think Liam's comments about teams actually going to City and actually believing that they can win sometimes actually pays off. And I think that's what happened yesterday. Now, again, at the second half, but before the second half, there was a bit of a lull and they scored the 2 goals. But from the second half onwards, I think the United belief came back, and obviously you've seen the end result. What a way to finish the match as well, for a last minute goal and to stop the Scousers doing their, well, I'm going to call it a 3.5 kind of. It's not a quadruple trophy, it's a 3.5 because Europa League's only half.
Yeah, Europa League and League Cup only count as half if the other 2 big ones aren't there.
Yeah.
Well, no, it is a quadruple. It's just not the quadruple. Like, it's not. And I don't think anyone really thought that was on, apart from Sky Sports or whoever was presented at that time. Like,
yeah,
the destined quadruple. Like, they're not going to win the league, so I don't know why. Yeah.
Well, do you think, before you carry on, Luke, do you think it was because it was the FA Cup and not a league match that United played that like that?
Possibly, yeah, and possibly the league is playing into the Liverpool minds a bit. Maybe their thoughts are, yeah, it's good news for you.
Good, want them to suffer.
But yeah, no, I think the FA Cup could have been the winning factor for United. Yeah, I think a lot of performances. I think Rashford played well. I think there was a lot of kind of, well, Anthony as well. He got on the scoreboard. Can't believe it. There was a lot of good performances from players that have been playing terrible recently, which is a real bonus. Now, I don't think this is going to be the fix for the whole kind of picture of United, but if we get past Coventry, and
if
we get past Coventry, that's a final against, well, we'll see. Probably
it's City.
Yeah, yeah, and then it's gonna, well, and then it's possibly another disappointing year where we lose against City against the FA Cup final. So fingers crossed we don't, and it'd be, well, Ten Hag's still going into the season. I'm not going to be the ones to say, give him another few years.
Even if he wins the FA Cup?
No, he's. I think
Really,
we've exhausted this enough to know that he's not the man for United job.
Even if he wins the FA Cup, he should go.
Van Gaal won the FA Cup.
So, whilst we're just talking about Man United, I had a question for you, Martin. Some people on the podcast, not naming names, were quite critical regarding celebrations of Arsenal when they beat Liverpool in a very meaningful Premier League game. What do you think of United's celebrations of winning a FA Cup quarter-final? Do you think they were sort of in line with the relative of the game? Because I've not heard anyone really criticising United for that. I'm just wondering what your thoughts were.
I don't have a problem with celebrations. I have a problem with people criticising over-celebrating, because it's always something that's in the moment. It's rarely a pre-planned thing. So I've never really had a problem with it. If United want to celebrate, the way that they need to after this match, them they're well within their rights. They can be critical of Arsenal all they want. Those unknown people in the podcast. So that wraps up the FA Cup. Let's have a quick break, and then we want to get on to England because it's international break week. And we're back. Right, it's international break, and obviously Gareth Southgate has picked his squad for this one, and then we've got one more until the squad is named for the Euros. So I thought it'd be a good idea this week for us all to pick our own and debate what we think that 23 should be, give our thoughts on the actual squad, and then probably try and work out the squad that it's going to be. there's a lot of little talking points in there. But Scott, seeing as though you're the youngest, I'm going to let you go first. And then it'd be interesting to see how many players we've got in common, because there's probably a string that we're all going to have. But I want to see the differences. So, Scott, you go first, and then we'll pick it apart and take the piss out of it.
Okay. Cool. So, start with the goalkeepers. And these, I think, pretty much, I'll be surprised if we have any different. No, in fact, I think we will have a couple of different here. So, my goalkeepers are Jordan Pickford, probably number one. If he's fit, and I don't actually know the situation on his fitness. Nick Pope, I don't know if he's going to be fit in time, but if he is fit, I would definitely take him. And actually, it maybe lean towards him as number one personally, but Southgate's whim. And Sam Johnston from Crystal Palace, I would have thought. Yeah, I think they're the best three. They're the ones who get the most football, and they're, in my opinion, the best three we've got. So that's who I would go with.
Scott. I'll jump in first. Completely agree.
Shall we go around the group in terms of positions, and we'll just do that. So, Liam, have you got the same three?
I've got the same three. Yeah, completely agree with Scott.
Luke,
no. And to your delight, I've shoe on Ramsdale over Pope, only because of the injury, and I don't think he'll be fit when the tournament starts. I just don't want to bring a player in that's not had full. What is it? 5 months off now.
So
you almost undid your own argument there.
Yeah, so you've gone for Ramsdale then.
Yeah, but at least he's playing. At least he's in training, and at least he's
played last week. Had a great game.
Exactly.
You're going to bring in Peter Shilton as your number three.
Oh, okay, Liam.
And Luke, and your number three.
Yeah, it's Sam Johnston as well. So it's just Ramsdale that's different to these two.
I've gone Pickford. So we've all got clean sweep on Pickford. My number two would be Ramsdale or Jack Butland. I've gone for. I think Butland's having a good season, by all accounts. I haven't watched a lot of Scottish football, so I don't know what to talk about. But I don't see anything special from Johnston. Definitely not Pope. I think he's quite overrated, if anything. But that's me with my Ramsdale hat on. I think Ramsdale's the best number two that we could go for. And then my number three is James Trafford, because the number three is never going to play anywhere. And I think it's one position that we can bring along someone for experience. He's obviously won the under-21s tournament as well. And yeah, I think he'd be welcomed into the group like that. So that's my shout.
Martin, you probably didn't notice, but all three of us shook our head when you said Pope's overrated. Why do you think Pope's overrated?
I just do. Just from what I've seen, I think he makes more mistakes than what people give him credit for. I think he gets off a bit lightly, just in terms of his performances. But that's my opinion. So I don't know. I'd have Pope. I'd have Ramsdale over Pope, with both of them probably playing as much football as each other this season.
Good lord!
I was going to say though, at the end of the day, none of these are going to play, are they?
Yeah.
Pickford, I don't think we need to spend hours arguing over a keeper. Yeah. We all know Pickford's going to play every minute. So
yeah.
Correct. I'm right. Honestly, at this point,
would not be mad at Trafford though. Would not be mad at Trafford going though if that did happen.
Yeah,
not a bad shout.
Right, Scott. We'll go to defenders. Just how many have you picked?
I have picked. I've got my list here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. I'm gone with.
Yeah, same.
Yeah,
I've got 8. Liam.
8. Yeah. 8.
Luke.
Yeah, 8.
Okay, right. So that's a fair enough breakdown. Right, Scott, you go.
Okay, and this is. I'm assuming everyone's fit here. So if someone's injured, then I'll have to go to my reserve list, which I have not written.
Unless they're already definitely ruled out.
Yeah, I think everyone here has got at the very least a decent chance of going. So we're all right. But anyway, let's get into it. So John Stones, Luke Shaw, Reece James, who will be fit by then, Mark Gahey, Ben Chilwell, Kyle Walker, Ezri Konsa, and Lewis Dunk.
Dunk, just give us your thoughts on them, if there's anyone. Who do you think is the wildcard one that you've picked there?
I think he's probably perceived as the wildcard, but I think Konsa's probably the wild card in there, but I really rate him. I think he's a really solid defender. He's got loads of room to develop. I think he's only 25 still, and I think I just think he's a really, really solid defender, and we could do a hell of a lot worse at centre half. And had to find someone that meant Harry Maguire didn't go, so Ezri Konsa is in.
Fair enough, Liam. Do you want to give us your 8, and we'll see what lines up there?
Yeah, so the ones that I can't remember all of them Scott said, so I'll just say mine. Stones, Gahey, Dunk. I picked Maguire. Maguire went. Chilwell, Shaw, Walker, and I put Joe Gomez in as well. That was my 8.
Okay. Luke?
Yeah, I think this is the hardest picks defense. I struggled. So I went Stones, Walker, Gomez, Dunk, Colwill, Gay, Chilwell, and Trippier.
You've gone for Colwill.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on the? So I'd put him as, say, maybe your wild card there out of the selection. None of the others were too crazy. What makes you go for him?
It just, honestly, I just looked at the squad and thought he's been playing all right, so I just picked him. He's not going to play, is it? And that what I'm struggling is just that starting 11, starting 4. I still can't pick the starting 4. Well, the left back. I don't know who it will be.
Well, that's the thing. I didn't hear any of you pick Trippier. Then did I miss that?
No, I picked Trippier.
You
Trippier.
did.
Yeah.
I've got Trippier, and I would start him left back.
So, go on. So you say your team.
No, you carry on, because mine's got a controversial figure in that I think we need to discuss.
So for the starting back 4, I would have gone Walker, Stones, and then maybe Gomez, and then Trippier.
Right.
For a starting back 4. Because that left hand side.
Did you pick Gomez?
Yeah, I picked Gomez, yeah.
I'm not sure on Gomez. I'm not a big fan.
I'm not sold on Gomez.
He plays all 3 positions, so it's a very he's a very handy player to take, because he was my last choice, and I think he's a very handy tournament player, because I feel he's competent in all 3 positions.
Yeah, he's gonna get in my team, but I want to go through my 8, and I just want to preface this by saying this 23 was picked before certain headlines came out, but my 8 is Stones, Walker, Trippier, Trent, Harry Maguire, Luke Shaw, Mark Gahey, and then Ben White. So I know you've all taken him out in between.
Correction, Benjamin White.
Depends. If you're as close to him as I am, then you can call him Ben. Luke, what are your thoughts on the old Ben White saga?
It's disgraceful.
From who?
From Ben White. Don't want to play for his country. Wants to rather go on holiday on Dubai or whatever he wants to do. It's a disgrace.
Right.
Sorry to be blunt about it, but that's what it is.
I think that's there's a load of talking points and nuances to this one, I think. But my overriding feeling on it, without my Arsenal head on, is that anyone turning down playing for the country is unacceptable. He probably shouldn't play for England ever again. Despite him being arguably England's most informed defender this season. And in another world, in a world where I'm going to say this, probably have a different manager, and I've been a fan of Southgate's almost all the way through his time here as England manager, but
until he crossed Arsenal.
No, not really. I just think when I'm saying he's made this decision easier by the fact that he doesn't always pick players based on merit. So Ben White, and there's other players who will go in who know they're not going to play as well. So it's not really a fair argument. But when someone is in form, and he was in form in the last squad when he pulled out in the World Cup, obviously this has led on to that. The story goes that he's had a fallout with Steve Holland, and what they've thrown the toys at the pram. They're probably not apologising to each other, and it's easier if one of them goes home. And Southgate's obviously sticking with his man, and Ben White doesn't seem too asked about it either. So I do have a problem. My problem is that I think Southgate has put a lot on Ben White though, and there's not been anything coming forward from the England camp in terms of it, but at least publicly. So I just think with the fact that Ben White knowing he should play and isn't going to has made the whole decision easier for him anyway. But in saying all this, and Liam, I want to get your thoughts immediately. But yeah, I just think turning down playing for your country just goes against everything we ever thought about. When you start playing football, that's the end goal, is to play for England.
Yeah, I think it probably is to do with a relationship breakdown of not playing, and how do you deal with that? And it's got to the point of stubbornness, I imagine now, where it's a bit like a V, fuck you didn't pick me then, why should I play now? But he plays in a position where England probably have the most talent they've ever had, I would say, and he's overcome that. I don't think Southgate was wrong to take him and not play him. Like, it's for him to break into the team. Like,
yeah. I don't disagree with that.
I don't think he should be like cast out forever. I think if he apologises, put him back in the squad. Like, people make mistakes. I'm not going to hold it against him forever. But for me, like, there's a few red flags with Ben White. He seems to me a bit of trouble, really. Like, I don't know. There's something about him. Something's not right there with him.
It's probably not that asked about integrating into the squad the way Southgate wants the whole squad to be like, and that's probably a factor.
Like, and he's only a right back as well. Not that important. So.
Well, that's the thing. He's not only a right back. This is what we were saying, isn't it? He could probably start centre back, holding midfield. Depends where you want him to play. He's played in all them positions in the Premier League.
Nah, fuck him.
I agree that he should be. I agree with you, Matt. And I think in an ideal world he would be going, because he is great. I do really like him, but also to Liam's point, he seems like a bit of a bad apple, and there is something amiss with his attitude that doesn't seem to be quite right. But I do think that Southgate needs to take some of the heat for this. If the situation is accurate that he's fallen out with a coach for reasons known only to them, that's his job as the manager to manage that situation and pull them in the room and say, what the fuck is going on? Sort this out. You're one of my top prospects in defence. You're one of my coaches. Figure it out. That is on him to sort out, in my opinion. So I think he needs to take a lot of the blame for that and not throw anyone under the bus. That's on him to keep that harmony in the camp.
Just a question though. Do you not think he could have started if they play in the back five?
I think he'd been a starting right back. Yeah. I don't know. He's England's best right back at the moment. I think most would agree on that. This season,
he's not. No, he's Iziek.
No, this is what he's saying in form.
Yeah,
if we're talking about form, especially all season, and you take away Trent's fitness issues and Kyle Walker's played here and there, and he's probably had a couple off months over the season. Kyle Walker, I'm just going off form, and that's all you can base merit on. So what Southgate's taken into account is the last 6-7 years of merit playing for England. So how does anyone get a game?
I get it, but there are other people in his position who haven't spat the dummy out, and like you said, I can kind of see both sides. That, like, if you're a centre forward playing for England, what's the point if your name's not Harry Kane? There is an element you can say that for a lot of positions, but I don't know. I think he maybe could have started, but I think there's a lot of talent in that position, so I don't think it's crazy that he isn't. But stands to reason that he's probably playing in the wrong position. He should be at centre half because he would start every game there for us.
Yeah. Would he not then? Would he not go on that if he played a back five? Would he not be the right hand side of the centre backs?
No. Oh, the centre backs. Oh, yeah. He could play
from the right back.
I don't think any of us does. Any of us rate Harry Maguire as a better centre back over the last 3 years, based on form than Ben White. No one does, but we know Harry Maguire's going to play if he's fit. So
I don't know I'm not sure about that anymore. If I'm honest, I think Gahey's made good strides to potentially start, but I still would take Maguire because I feel like under pressure, ball coming into the box, like he is brilliant at that sort of one-on-one defending in and around him. I know United fans don't want to see him succeed anymore because they made their mind up about him. But like, he was a big player yesterday for United in both boxes.
Right, I just want to
dragged them to victory as far as I could see.
Right, yeah, cool, Liam. He was nothing to do with it. I just want to go through the common factors we had then. So we all had John Stones, we all had Kyle Walker, we all had Trent as a defender, or did we not?
No, I didn't.
Not as a defender.
Okay.
Yeah.
We all had Gay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shaw.
Yeah.
No.
You didn't have Shaw?
You didn't have Shaw.
I had Shaw, yeah.
Right, well.
Okay.
So there's a few positions up for grabs in terms of the whole collective squad. Scott, let's move on to midfield. First of all, how many have you got in midfield? Just listed as midfielders.
6.
Right, okay.
6 listed as midfielders.
Pretty much same.
So,
hold on, I'm going to take two away from you here. Can we all just agree that we've all got Declan Rice and Bellingham in there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right,
we have those
fine.
players.
So let's move on to your other 4.
Jude the Pretender. Let's take him. Okay, my other 4 are Conor Gallagher, Curtis Jones, James Maddison, and Trent Alexander-Arnold.
So I think the standout one. In fact, we'll address that in a second because Liam, you've got Trent as a midfielder. So do you want to give us your 4 or 3, however many?
I mean, I spent like hours trying to decide who's a midfielder and who's a forward. Like, but right, this is what I've written as midfielders. So aside from the obvious 2, I've got Gallagher as well. I've got Trent Alexander-Arnold as well as a midfielder. I put Cole Palmer as a midfielder. It looks midfieldish, so he was a midfielder. I've got Madison as well. And mine, probably unpopular shout, was Jordan Henderson. Just getting in there. I know. I really struggled, and I'll let other people carry on, but I really struggled with this idea of a box-to-box 6 because I did not want to pick Calvin Phillips because everything he touches dies at the moment. So I didn't want to pick him, and I needed someone who, and I like, as much as I like Curtis Jones, I needed someone with some England experience coming on with 20 minutes to go, 2-0 up against France. I don't want to go on, young Curtis, see us through. I feel like it had to be Henderson in a 23-man squad. That's why I went.
Yeah, I think that's probably limited us a bit in terms of bringing around some youngsters. And I felt, especially with defence, that I couldn't afford any passengers in terms of the squad picks with 23, with 26 maybe, like in the World Cup. I think we all probably could have done. Luke, do you want to give us your others other than Rice and Bellingham?
Yeah. So I've gone Curtis Jones, I've gone Madison, and I've gone Harvey Elliott and Ward-Prowse.
Hold on.
You love Ward-Prowse.
Hold on. No. Ward-Prowse and Harvey Elliott.
Correct.
You on heroin?
I've never
What
seen.
is wrong with you?
I've never seen Harvey Elliott at a bad game. I think he's just an outstanding player.
Even with a pot noodle on his head.
Yeah.
No one else in here. I'm looking around for someone to stare at. Like, what am I hearing?
You and everyone else listening,
Scott.
I'm not sold on Harvey Elliott.
I like Harvey Elliott, Luke. I agree, but I don't think he's ready for that.
Yeah, but he's to be honest, they're not going to play. He's not going to play, is it?
You can't just keep picking people on the basis. You might have to play at some point. You can't just keep picking everyone saying he's never going to play. Fuck it. What do you mean?
Let's bring in 10 people for experience.
Why don't you just take us instead? Oh well, Liam can go. He's not going to.
I'm going to call Southgate up, see if I can go. Yeah,
Benson Edges. Put them on as well.
Yeah, I think he's a good player. I honestly do.
So who have you not picked there, Luke? So let's have a look at people you've not picked. Madison.
I've picked Madison.
Oh, did you?
Can I just say, have you got Foden in your attackers then?
Yeah. Okay. The ones I've not picked out of you've picked Jordan Henderson. So, so that's the one I've not. And then what was the other one?
As well.
In my midfielders, I've picked Foden, Madison, Curtis Jones, and Eze.
Eze.
I didn't want to pick Henderson. I don't think we needed that experience in there. I think Rice and Bellingham are going to play every minute of every game anyway. And then there's 4 players vying it out for a number 10 position / maybe a winger role. One player we've all not picked is Mason Mount. I don't think I'm presuming he doesn't deserve.
Who?
He came exactly. I know that guy who came on in the 110th minute against Liverpool. You remember, I was like, Jesus Christ, he was in the squad. What a kick in the dick that was. So yeah, I guess we're all assuming that he ain't going to be there.
Look, Mason Mount's a good player, obviously, but he has a lot to prove in the remainder of the season if he's anywhere near that good squad. Know what you were going to say there, Scott?
No, I was actually going to make a point on Eze, but on Mason Mount, yeah, he's just as much of a decent reputation he built up at Chelsea. His time at United's been, for whatever reason, I don't actually know what the reason why he's not been playing, but he's
injured. Been injured.
He's been injured for a while. When he has played, though, he's not been on the game times he has featured. From what I've seen, he's been pretty poor. So
Yeah.
the terrible form he was in last season, looks like it's just continued.
Then you're going to mention Eze as well.
Yeah, I just think he's class. I think he's a really, really good player. And I'm actually a bit annoyed that I didn't think about him when I was putting this together. But I think there is other players who can do what he does, perhaps a little bit better. But I do think he's a top talent. I really, really like him.
I agree. He's a good player.
Fair. So we'll move on to strikers or forwards. I've got 6 there as well, and we'll just take 2 off the table for everyone. We've all got Kane and Saka.
Sadly, I have Saka. Yes.
You can all use words.
I don't like admitting Saka.
Well, you just spoke for me, so what do I need to say?
I agree, Martin. Great shout.
But with my own call, yes. I agree with my own player that I picked, yes.
I agree with my opinion.
Just some feedback for the audios only. So we've all got Kane and Saka, so I'm going on 4 places. Scott, you take the first round here.
4?
I've got 4 positions left. So I've got 6.
You may not, Scott. I don't have 4 left. I have 3 left. So you may be like me.
Right, yeah.
I count these. Okay, so we've got Kane and Saka. Phil Foden is in there. Cole Palmer. If I put him in as a forward, I was listing my forwards all together. Anthony Gordon, I would take.
Okay.
I think slightly edges out Jarrod Bowen. Jarrod Bowen, as much as I'm not his biggest fan, he's in excellent form this season. So I think it's a toss-up between them two. And the final place, I'm still very, very torn on this one. And I'm still can't really decide. I have a slight leaning between Ivan Toney and Ollie Watkins. I personally would probably take Ivan Toney, but Ollie Watkins is in ridiculously good form. And I think it'd be so harsh for him to miss out on a tournament, given the season that he's had. So curious to see if either of those two make everyone else's cut, and if so, why they've gone for that particular option. Because I'm really torn between those two.
Yeah, Liam, you go.
Yeah, I think that'll be a big decision for Southgate because I don't think he'll take both. There's no justification for 3 out and out forwards when you've got Harry Kane, because he's just going to play Kane every minute. So I'll come back to that in a second. The others I've gone for were Foden and Gordon. Again, honourable mentions to Bowen and Eze, who I was sweating on, I must admit, and felt bad, leaving them at my imaginary England team, where I don't actually even have to ring them and say that they're not playing. I still felt bad for leaving, particularly Eze out, because he's absolutely class, but, Jordan Henderson needed to be in there. And then Ivan Toney or Watkins. So I went the other way, Scott. I went with Watkins. And there's a couple of reasons why. Number one, he's better than Toney. So that was a reason.
Disagree.
Number 2, I really believed that Watkins is the one of the two that you could play as a 2, as opposed to Toney. I think when you're playing Toney's your main centre forward, where I think Watkins could easily play a tip, like in a Son type role, where they're interchanging him and Kane. So I felt that was an option, that it was there. The only thing, Tony, I was struggling on was the penalty element, but I don't want to take anyone just for the sake of taking penalties. I feel like that's counterintuitive because we're going to win every game 6-0. So, yeah, I went Watkins.
Yeah,
Luke,
interesting.
Agree, disagree?
To be fair, I'm just looking at my squad. I've not put Saka in.
Saka. Hold on. You spent a lot of time listening. You've not put him in. Is that a mistake? Or are you?
Yeah, it's a mistake. Yeah, it's a mistake. Yeah.
So who you dropping last minute then? Who? Oh, actually, you're not going. Sorry, I know you've got all your stuff ready, but you're not going.
Let me do mine.
He's getting the phone call.
I might give you some ideas. But did neither of you two have Grealish in your squad, or did I miss that?
No,
you never.
Grealish.
I don't rate. I've never rated him. When everyone was trying to tell me he was the best player in the league, I've never really.
So I've got Kane, Saka, Anthony Gordon, Jack Grealish. I've put Palmer as a forward because I believe he could do a job across the whole front line from number 10 onwards. I don't think you'd want him any deeper than that. I know he's picking up a lot of positions for Chelsea, but I wouldn't want him any further than that. And Watkins, I just think it would be so harsh on him to take Tony over him. I like Tony, and if he was picking this for last summer, it probably would have been an easy shout in the other direction. But Watkins is just on too good a form. He looks classic and do everything. So yeah, I've gone with Watkins, but I'm really surprised that none of you have gone Grealish.
He's poor. He's average, and I think
I had to do it to make sure I didn't pick one too many. But no, I've got them all.
Particularly based on the season.
Yeah, I'm playing Ford and left wing, and I want Gordon as my option off the bench. I want dynamism off the bench. I don't want more of the same. Like, I don't want someone just trying to win me free kicks. Like, everything good about Grealish has been sort of pushed out of him. Really, I think he's just a link-up player. Like,
can I pull you on something as well? Did neither of you have Rashford?
Nope. He wouldn't be anywhere near
my
seating plan for that plane to wherever it is that they're going.
Fair enough. Luke, there's some food for thought though. Who gets your last spot?
So have you done 6 players each?
I've done 6 midfielders, 6 forwards. That's 12. 6. 8 defenders. That's 20. 3 goalkeepers.
Right.
Quick maths.
This is hard. So I've gone Kane, Foden, Gordon, Watkins, Palmer, and I had Rashford in it. But I want to take Rashford and I want to take Saka as well. So
maybe drop someone else.
On what grounds does Rashford make your squad?
I think he plays well for England.
Proximity to Manchester.
I think he plays well for England.
This never lets England down argument has kept so many bums in this team.
Yeah, because they're playing against fucking Luxembourg or something. That's why. Oh, Harry Maguire, what a performance he had against Andorra. Nice one.
I think
clean sheet against Malta served him well for a few years.
This is the reason why I want to bring Rashford is I want someone off the bench for Gordon. Because I think Gordon starts him on the left, and then I want Rashford to come on for him.
Where's Foden playing in your imaginary England team?
Well, while you're on that, let's. I'm interested in people's starting 11 now, seeing as though we've all got a squad. I'm not actually to pick them really, but let's ignore the defence for now because that's a bit of a can of worms, and just go off your front 6, and we can all. Kane's going to start, so we could take that out. For me personally, I'll start, so just give you all some time to think. But I'm going Saka right, Gordon left. Now, I'm stuck here because I would like Foden as the 10, but I can see a world where we need more cover defensively. So I would play Foden left and then another body at the side of Rice in midfield. But I'd have Rice, Bellingham and Foden as the 3 in midfield, with Rice doing the majority of the labour and giving the ball to Bellingham and Foden as quick as possible. That would be my front 6.
Yeah. That's a pretty shit team. Right, I'll say what my full team is, because I know...
Actually, the 6 best English players we've got, but...
So I'm going to do the full team. So it's Pickford net, Chilwell left back, Walker right back, Stones, Gahey, midfield 3, Bellingham, Rice, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Foden left wing, Kane in the middle, Saka right wing. It's coming up.
That's a shit team. No, you're right though. If we was moving more defensively minded, I'd put Trent in the middle. Trent, Rice, and Bellingham would be my 3 if we was in more of a defensive fashion.
Defensively minded and Trent. You all right?
Well, he's been...
Fucking, I got a defensive bone in his body.
Yeah, but someone told him he was a defender once, so that's what I'm basing that on.
That literally is his story, isn't it? Like, just literally, like, we need someone to play right back. Well, Trent's our best player in the under 23s. We'll just play him right back, and that's it. That's it. Then.
The centre forward, yeah, it don't matter. Don't matter. Stick him in. I was going to say, I think I actually agree with Liam's team 100%. I think that is. I think if you don't play that midfield, there is no point in Trent even being there, because he's a liability at right back, and we have other options. So I think if you are going to take Trent, that's the team you kind of have to play. Yeah, I actually think that's the best team we could put out.
Jesus Christ, we've had 2 positives for Liam in this whole episode. Gonna have to do some swift editing on this.
One quick caveat: if we were to switch to a midfield pair instead of a 3, I would have Bellingham, Rice. I would go with Kane up top, Foden left, Saka right, Palmer in the middle. Yeah. And my thinking there is Palmer has got the balls and the arrogance to do what needs to be done in big games. He will try the right stuff. He's not scared of the occasion. I think him on the pitch more will make us a bit more creative.
More than Maddison. I was
going to say it's very close between them 2, isn't it?
Oh, I had James Maddison as well. Oh, I've scrolled past. That's a tough one.
Either or, I say. But I think
I like them both. I think Palmer's got a touch more arrogance that would lend itself well to
but
semi-final or
Maddison's
final.
I would say Maddison's got a touch more quality as opposed to arrogance.
Yeah, Maddison plays for Spurs. He's been infected by the average. Get rid of him.
Right.
I'm deleting him out.
I think Luke's managed to get Saka in his squad now. Looking over.
Luke's had a quick call to the FA. He's made a call.
Yeah. Rashford cannot be dropped.
One Luke's on you now.
So I've gone Gordon left, Kane up top, Saka right, Foden number 10, Rice and Bellingham midfield, but I think I'm just shoehorning all the best players in there, and I don't know if it fits just looking at it.
This is your team, it's not Southgate's, it's what we can shout at the screen when we obviously lose in the semi-final.
Yeah, I know, but I get the point. You want to get all your best players on the pitch, but they've all got to work together. I do maybe forward on the left works, and I do like Armour in the middle.
But Ben White
as well. It's difficult, that one. Fuck it. I'm going to go Gordon, Kane, Saka, and Foden behind Rice and Bellingham midfield.
Yeah. The problem you've got is if they don't start, they're never going to play. That's the issue you've got with your squad.
Yeah, because we've got 10 people there for the trip.
What pricing to be the kicker?
Yeah. So there was some choice names, not choice names, but there were some names highlighted in Southgate's most recent squad. He has took Tony and Watkins, knowing that neither of them are going to play. Bowen was in the Jared Branthwaite as well was in the.
Yeah,
I think he's had a good season. Probably get a good move this summer. Everton probably need to sell him as well more than anything. But was there anyone in this squad? I don't think all of us had Conor Gallagher in the 23s either, and I think he's sort of got one foot on the plane and one foot definitely at home. His inclusion for me is going to dictate a few others as well in terms of the way we set up. Because if you take him, then you probably don't take other people for obvious reasons, other than he takes up a spot. But you know what I mean in terms of like the way we would set up a team. I actually think if Gallagher goes, he ends up getting quite a few minutes.
Yeah. I think he'd come off the bench in nearly every game, Gallagher.
Yeah,
he should. He should.
I agree.
He's the golden retriever of the Chelsea and England team. And when people are tired, he's one of the last people you want chasing you down. Gala dog.
I'd much rather take Gallagher over Henderson, but
why have one when you can have both?
Southgate mouthpiece here. So, how we feel? We seem to have half fixed the squad. We've got quite a lot of common factors in there, apart from Luke's team, who was shaking his head. Luke is really struggling with this imaginary team. What's your problem, Luke?
Look, you had 2 weeks notice.
You did have 2 weeks notice, by the way, to do this, everyone. But Luke, just tell us your thoughts on this England squad now, where it's at and where it needs to be.
I'm not too happy with my defence as well.
Well, are you sticking to the 4-3-3 formation that we would normally go, or would you play a bit with that?
So I think it's the Stones conundrum now I'm thinking about, because he's not really been playing as an out-and-out centre-back this season. He's been marauded.
No one has, though. Everyone's the invertibles. You got Trent inverting into centre mid.
He's been around long enough, though, Stones, though, hasn't he? I don't think it would be. It's like his formative years have been all over the shop.
Yeah, but if he's been playing in a system all year, it's going to be hard to kind of. I know he's experienced and he can just fit, but I don't know. I'm looking at it.
He's England's best centre back.
Yeah. I know. I agree. And that's the problem.
Stop worrying about it.
I just.
He's not that good, though, by the way. He's England's best centre back, but he's not that good. England are really weak centre backs.
I agree. I agree. We're going for a really dry spell with top quality defenders, I think.
Yeah, this is where we announced the start of our campaign. #Save Ben White. So if people want to join in on Twitter, Liam will look after you on there. #Save Ben White. We'll get him in, and that solves a lot of our problems.
Yeah, if you have not, by the way, listeners, if you have noticed the quality of tweets risen dramatically again recently, it's because I've been given the new password. I am back on Twitter.
The ban is up.
No, he's on a watch list for the moment. That's why he's behaving.
Oh, you want to be careful about how you say that.
No, that's a different list. He's on.
Don't be throwing that about.
A well-publicised other list. But
have you two said your defences? I know Liam's. What are yours two?
My defence, mine would. So it depends. Like I say, if I would play Trent every game, either at right back or in centre midfield, just because I think you need him in there. I think in the games where he plays at the back, he's expected to be able to do what he does and not have to worry too much defensively. And the games where he's in midfield, you need more cover at the back. So I'd have Trent, Walker at centre back with Stones and Trippier left back. And then you allow Trent to push on there. Walker's obviously got some unnatural pace, God-given sort of freak ability to keep getting quicker as he gracefully strides into his mid-30s. He seems to be putting up his best sprint times. The guy's an absolute...
Grey area.
I don't know. I wouldn't say... What is a grey area? The amount of steroids that Kyle Walker takes, is that a massive grey area? The guy's an absolute lunatic. God, you can't even take a drug test from him because he snaps the syringe. Just thick maple syrup blood. Allegedly.
Unlike UK cyclists who are all clean.
Correct.
So, yeah, no, I would have Kyle Walker doing a lot of Trent's mopping up, which would be good. Stones covering there and Trippier left back, because I think he's our best option there. I don't trust Shaw or Chilwell to do a better job.
A quick question: Do you really think that Trent is this good that we need to shoehorn him in to everything that we do? I think against low block opposition, who are just going to sit there and put 10 men behind the ball he's maybe helpful in that scenario. But I think in another game, in a team that's against somebody who's going to go at us, I think he's just going to be a liability. I don't think he's this incredible talent that we need that has to be on the pitch. I think he's a weapon that we can use in certain situations. But
I actually do think he's too talented to not have in the team. A little bit like Foden. There's sort of been, I've had question marks over Foden and Trent for a while, but I think the last 18 months for Trent and this last season, especially for Foden, they've both stepped up. They've sort of proved their quality to me, and my decision is obviously the most important in this imaginary lineup.
Scott, what's yours? What's your team? So I mean, it's a defense.
Starting defense, I would go Chilwell, Stones, probably Gahey, but I wouldn't mind Conser in there, but I'd probably go Gahey because he's left-footed, and Kyle Walker or Reece James if he's fit enough. It's a bit of a toss-up for me on those.
Reece James is a wild pick, by the way.
Yeah,
we all skirted over that. He just doesn't play football.
What? Well, yeah. That is a drawback to his game that he doesn't play. He doesn't play a lot of the sport that he gets paid a lot of money to play. But I will die on the hill that when he, on the rare occasions that he is fit and playing football, is the best in that position in the world. I don't think there's any doubt.
Yeah, maybe.
I honestly agree.
There's an all-round. Yeah, but I agree. The caveat is that never happens. Maybe 4 or 5 times a season, but they're good 4 or 5 games. That's a great period for us.
The last thing he needs is a Euros campaign.
I know, but he's got to play football sometime. He can't, or he just needs to find another job because you can't just keep doing this for the rest of. Well, yeah, he can, I suppose, if he wants to spend his 20s doing this, but it's fucking with my emotions. I don't like it.
Right, so I think that rounds us up nicely. We're going to look forward to these. We'll probably do this again at some point when the teams are about to come out. We've got one more international camp before this. We've got football coming up again. In fact, I don't even know who we play. Do we play Brazil and
Belgium?
Brazil and Belgium.
The Belgians.
Right, so I'm looking forward to them. The Belgians. Right, we'll wrap it up there. Thank you everyone for listening. Thank you everyone for joining in. If you want to, I don't know, Scott, there's a subscribe button. What do people need to do?
Click it. Of course.
Smash the fuck out of it. Call the fucking Avengers on that subscribe button. Just twat it into your screen and click that because it makes us, it makes things nicer for us.
Just before you go, Martin, how's your ice bath going?
My ice bath's doing great. Thank you very much. It is in one piece. Scott, I nearly got Scott in it yesterday, but he backed out last minute.
Nearly is a massive overstatement. I looked at it from about 10 feet away and said, "Oh, it's smaller than I thought," and that was pretty much it. I was as close as I came to dipping in the cold blood.
Followed by some expletives at my daughter's birthday party. Fucking ice bath.
Oh, another secret party. Oh, another one.
Yeah, Liam, you weren't invited to a 2-year-old's birthday party. Sorry, you missed the cut on that one. But thank you everyone for listening. Thank you, Liam, for not turning up uninvited to another party. And we'll catch you all soon. You can find all the information at www.fixingfootballpodcast.com, where you can find links to all the previous episodes, the next episodes, and all the fun stuff that we do on social media, especially Liam on Twitter. You can get right into him, use #SaveBenWhite, and we will see you all next time. Thanks very much. Say bye, boys.
It's all right.
See you later.